Braden Eaves on the pole position for race number 1. He turned a 108.936 yesterday. Eaves, of course, the driver who won the USF 2000 championship a couple years ago. He battled Hunter McElroy for the title that season in the opening run of the Road to Indy. Indeed, those two drivers, first and second, in qualifying for race 1. Hunter McElroy, the driver from New Zealand, with Pabst Racing in the number 18. Coming off to a pretty solid start to 2021, Todd. He actually capped the season last year. It was the first year for him in Indy Pro 2000, also the first year for Pabst Racing in the category. Both Hunter McElroy and his teammate Colin Kaminsky graduating from USF 2000 up to Indy Pro, brand new for the team as well. They got quicker and quicker throughout the season as they got a really good feel for the PM18 chassis. Hunter won the final race of the year, and you could just see that when he won last year here at St. Petersburg, it just took so much pressure off of him finally to be able to get that win at the end of the season. He came back with a victory at Barber Motorsports Park and qualified second behind Braden Eaves. Both those two drivers ready to continue their battle at the front of the grid.
We talk so much about drivers and learning the process and going through the different steps in the road to Indy. It's the same for the teams as well, moving to different levels, as you talk about with Pabst Racing, their first year, and there's a learning process that they have to go through as well, and adapting and understanding each step on the road to Indy. It's great to see them have success also.
Yeah, Pabst is a legendary name in motorsports, especially in Wisconsin, Road America. Augie Pabst, the third, obviously a third-generation guy, racer, team owner, just a true sportsman of motorsports, and they've been a big part of the USF 2000 and F2000 racing in general for the last couple of decades. And they've won team championships, not yet won the actual drivers' championship, but that could easily come their way this season as well. But looking here at Indy Pro 2000 with Hunter McElroy, he and his teammate, as I said, Colin Kaminsky was 9th. Hunter was 2nd in the opening qualifying run. But to be honest, right now, out of the gate, Exclusive Autosports has had a fantastic weekend so far. 1st and 2nd, a front row lockout in USF 2000 for race number 1. Came back, Christian Brooks finishing in 2nd in the qualifying run for race number 2. Kiko Porto from D-Force Racing getting that pole just late in the run. Braden Eaves, he can't get the job done here as well. Trying to get back-to-back pole positions. Eaves started on the pole for round number 1 at Barber Motorsports Park last weekend and took the victory there, and then followed it up with a 4th place finish to roll into the event here in St. Petersburg with the points lead. 51 points for Braden Eaves, 47 for his teammate Artem Petrov, who had a couple of podiums. The driver of the St. Petersburg, Russia, 2nd in round number 1, 3rd in round number 2. He's only 4 points back of his teammate. And then Hunter McElroy with that big victory in race number 2 after struggling with a broken wing to 7th in race 1. Finds himself just 6 points back. Very good championship battle starting at Barber Motorsports Park, and we expect more to happen here. That's James Rowe Jr. in the number 3, overcooking it into turn number 10. Unlike some of the drivers we saw yesterday, Todd, he got it woed up and didn't get into the barriers, able to slow up. We saw a number of drivers hammer either the barriers or the tires. One driver went off far to the exit area, Eli Navarro, and damaged that car yesterday. Good job for Rowe to get it woed up, though.
We saw a number of drivers have some difficulty with that corner in a number of different series. It's just either braking a little bit too late, not quite hitting the apex of the corner. That turn 8 was another area that we saw a few drivers run into some trouble yesterday. First thing in the morning, nobody has been on track since yesterday. So again, even though the sweepers have been working, it's a little bit dirty first thing in the morning. And since these Indy Pro 2000 drivers were on track yesterday afternoon, a lot of other cars have been out on track. The feel of the asphalt is going to be a little bit different from what it was then.
It's funny you say that because I talked to a couple of the rookie drivers. They made a couple of the teams had made changes knowing that the rubber was going to be there, but not near enough. And they just said, we didn't think the grip was going to be even that much, and it was significantly different. Talked to Christian Brooks on the pole for race 1 in USF 2000. He said when he went out, he could not believe how much more grip they had. And the Exclusive Autosport guys, very happy with the balance of their cars in USF 2000. Not surprising. D-Force as well. They were really strong at the end of the season in 2020. Both Kiko Porto for D-Force and Christian Brooks for Exclusive, the race winners last year here at the finale for USF 2000, and they're up front again, keeping that momentum from last year. But here we go now. Got 3-4 laps starting to get in the books here right now for drivers at Indy Pro. Hunter McElroy back up on top. Born in Australia, lives in California, but carries the New Zealand flag. a nightmare for us announcers because you never know what we're supposed to do. But Hunter's a great young guy, and up top right now, 110.099.
Perfect illustration of the international feel of the Indy Pro 2000 series at all levels of the road to Indy. We're getting close to the times now from yesterday. As you mentioned, 3 laps down, tires are coming up to temperature, pressures are there, drivers finding a little bit of space out on track. A 110 flat almost for Hunter McElroy. It's a 108.9 is the pole time yesterday by Braden Eaves in that first round of qualifying for race 1.
Yeah, no time yet for Braden Eaves in the number 91. Hasn't laid a lap down yet. Neither has Fittipaldi. I wonder if there's an issue potentially for Braden Eaves on the racetrack right now. But we'll come back to that. Let's talk a little bit here about the international field, as you had said. Top 5 drivers. Hunter McElroy from New Zealand. Christian Rasmussen, Denmark. Wyatt Prokopchik from the U.S. Inam Ahmed from the UK. Artem Petrov from Russia. And then at one point, we also have Manuel Suleiman there, and he's from Mexico. It's just such a fantastic cross-section of the drivers we have here now.
Says a lot about the road to Indy as well, and how desirable a place it is to be for drivers all around, understanding that this is their path to ultimately reach the NTT IndyCar Series, which is the goal. The entry level, of course, of the USF 2000, if they make their way through the road to Indy, graduating with scholarships, there is an opportunity for them to go further.
Braden Eaves back in pit lane again. The second time he's been into pit lane in the number 91 Cambridge Global Payments exclusive Autosport entry. Point leader, pole sitter for race number 1. Eaves has yet to put a lap in the books here now. Back down pit lane for Braden Eaves. Looks like there could be an issue with the transponder potentially for Braden Eaves. That is tough. You know he's got the pace. They've got to get that transponder figured out. They have not yet done it so far. Still over 12 and a half minutes to go. The team will go to work on that transponder. Rasmussen P1 now. Here's a good shot here over top. They're going to pull the side cover off of that machine. Eaves exactly where we need to be to use that video. There's the USF, or rather the Indy Pro 2000 car, the PM18. Cooper tires all the way around. It's a spec chassis for the drivers here at Indy Pro. It's the same tub, actually, that we used for the USF 2000 car, built by the Italian manufacturer Tatis. 250 horsepower in the engines of the program here in Indy Pro 2000. And again, you can see them going to work. They're trying to make sure that the transponder is wired correctly. You know, they have it all dialed in. They may even try to swap one out. Yeah, it looks like they have another one, a spare transponder there. So they're going to get that pulled out. Braden Eaves, a driver with a lot of experience, top-level national kart racer before moving into the F4 program. Then from there into USF 2000, we ran with Cape Motorsports, won the championship in 2019. 2020 last year, came out of the gate as one of the championship contenders for Indy Pro, had won a race at Mid-Ohio, then had that horrific accident at Indianapolis Motor Speedway where I want to say left rear suspension failure. Car going sideways, it dug in, he flipped upside down and got up on top of the roll hoop into the wall. Neck injury, head injury, but came back. The recovery was quick. He's a young kid, thankfully. Able to get back quickly, got into a seat of a go-kart late in the season, went off-season testing, came right back and won the first race of the 2020 season. There's no better way for a guy to wipe out the memory of an incident like that than go to race 1 and score the win.
What a way to restore your confidence after a huge crash, a long recovery, to get back in the car and then score a victory in the first race weekend of the year. Graduate from USF 2000 and scholarship winner Christian Rasmussen has gone to the top of the timesheets after 6 laps, a 108.9. We're right in the vicinity of yesterday's time, so maybe we will see even quicker times with additional rubber that's been put down on the track, and after a couple of laps of these Indy Pro 2000 cars getting it cleaned up, so to speak. Now, a number of drivers starting to make pit stops, and I wonder if this is going to come into the tire management situation that we talked a bit about yesterday. With 3 sets of tires available to them, do they swap out halfway through?
Well, and again, I think we said it's different depending on the driver, where you are, because do you want to carry a fresh set of tires? Is somebody holding on to a set of Cooper's stickers that they can hold on to later for one of the races today or tomorrow? We'll see. Everybody in a different position in terms of where they are on the grid. You know, is your car getting better? Did you just make some major adjustments to the car coming into today? Wow, it's that much better. Let's put the tires on. I want to see if I can't go for a pole position or a top 5 start. This is a track where you can pass on. There are great overtaking opportunities, but it's not the best. It's not the big long straightaways with a hard braking. So following now Jack William Miller in the Miller Vinatieri Motorsports machine. Miller currently in P2 in the number 40, driver out of Indiana. one of the rookie drivers in the program, a couple years in USF 2000, and Jack William Miller, just 16 years of age. Does a lot of training with Gabby Chavez, former Indy Lights champion and NTT IndyCar Series driver. Rasmussen still on top, as you said, but that's 8 and 9 right there. The double apex right-hander, probably the slowest part of the racetrack. Back on to turn number 10, or turn number 9, through 9, over to 10. Bit of a kink there, and then into turn number 10 here. Tough part of the racetrack as that wall coming up pretty quickly on the exit. Jack William Miller, rookie, P2, 109.310. Fast time, our track record of 107.601 set last year by Stingray Robb. And Todd, we talked about it yesterday. What a great end of the season for Stingray to win that Indy Pro 2000 championship. Almost swept the entire weekend, reset the qualifying record, reset the race record, was able to win the championship as well. One victory on the weekend.
That's a spectacular way to close out your Indy Pro 2000 career with such a good victory and setting new track records as we're watching Jack William Miller move around the track, remaining second. Braden Eaves remains on pit lane. They continue to work on that transponder. Also should touch on Enzo Fittipaldi, who had contact yesterday, damaged that car. He also has not posted a time in this qualifying session. Don't know if that team is still having issues trying to get that car back together and get him back out on track.
Indeed, we'll try to get some updates on that. But I'll tell you one thing, it will only take one lap for Braden Eaves. If he's able to get back out there, you give him a three lap run where he gets those tires up to speed and up to temperature, he'll lay that lap down. It's a guy that is going to be able to put together one lap and get the job done. Again, they're trying to get that transponder repaired. They I think swapped it out. Looks like it was a switch to a potentially new transponder. They'll get that information set up to race control. Rasmussen still P1, still over 7.5 minutes remaining. It's a 0.3 of a second advantage for Christian Rasmussen. 2020 USF 2000 champion. He's got the black, white, and red scholarship colors on that car for Jay Howard Driver Development, the driver out of Denmark. Just absolutely impressive. I want to say the word dominant last year because he came out of the gate with 6 straight wins, but then had a dip where he had some issues at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a couple of poor finishes, then drove off while leading, coming to the carousel, the opening laps of the first race at Mid-Ohio a week later. Really, the point lead was massive. I think almost 50-something points at one point, maybe even more than that. Dropped down to 3 points, but then as a true champion, was able to turn around and work his way back up.
That's part of the learning process as well for the drivers in each level of the road to Indy, even understanding that managing your season, understanding that you're not necessarily going to have the best weekend every weekend, but maintaining a level of consistency throughout the year as we continue to look at them working on Braden Eaves and that transponder. Yeah,
you can see team owner Michael Duncalf over the rear wing looking out at the work that was being done. They're doing everything they can, feverishly trying to get that transponder replaced for Braden Eaves to get him back out on the tracks. 6.5 minutes to go. You think about one lap of a 1 minute, 7, 8, 9 seconds. He's going to need at least 4 minutes, probably 5 minutes on the racetrack. So the time counting down. Eaves, the point leader, is not going to want to start at the tail of the field here. He's going to get himself back up front. Rasmussen, Miller, 1-2. Reese Gold in the third spot. Literally rookies. 1, 2, 3, 4. Christian Rasmussen, Jack William Miller, Reese Gold, Cameron Shields, all USF 2000 drivers last year. This is unheard of. This is a track that normally plays to sophomore drivers. Hunter McElroy currently in the 5th spot. Remember, those drivers just starting to dial things back up again. We're not done yet at all. Everybody just getting back on track, potentially with fresh rubber. James Rowe Jr. for turn 3, now in the 6th spot. Colin Kaminsky in 7th. Manuel Suleiman 8th. Jacob Abel 9th, and Wyatt Prakacic in 10th spot. Artem Petrov 11th, qualified 3rd for race number 1. Petrov now in the 11th spot. Inam Ahmed in 12th. Flynn Lazier 13th. Kiffin Simpson 14th. Hunter Yaney 15th. We have not seen Fittipaldi on the racetrack yet. I'm told that he was cleared to drive for today after that incident, but you don't know how much of a damage was on the tub of that PM18. And here comes Braden Eaves with 5 minutes remaining.
This will be fun to watch in these final 5 minutes, looking to try to complete 3 laps. So now Braden Eaves will want to get out, get those tires up to temperature quickly, and hopefully have a couple of good flyers at the end to see what he can do in terms of qualifying.
And he got it right in front of Cameron Shields. Shields currently in the 4th position, so they'll slowly build the heat up there. Shields is trying to find a way by Eaves. We'll see if Braden lets him by. It essentially uses him as a rabbit right now. He does. So that's good for Braden. Smart move and a guy that won the USF 2000 championship. Cameron's on hot tires. He's going to be quick. This will give an opportunity for Braden once he spools up, if he has more speed than Shields, to use him on that draft, potentially on the fast lap. This is it right here. This is showing you what a driver can do. A 5-minute run, essentially, for Braden Eaves, the point leader, pole sitter for race 1. Can he pull the trigger and get himself back? Now, first and foremost, let's make sure as well that transponder's working. We're trying to make sure that Eaves is able to get a first time in the books. He's back on the racetrack right now. Eaves rolling. Jack William Miller, I believe, coming down pit lane. We have a driver stopped on the racetrack. That's Miller. Miller went to the outside of turn number 14. I don't know what that was for Jack. And now finally pulling down pit lane. I have no idea why he would have pulled to the outside of the track like that. Finally coming down pit lane. Jack William Miller at 4th position. You got to figure that's it for him for the session. There's not much you're going to do to get back out on the racetrack. So Miller was into the end of the track. Shields went to the outside through 14, then he went to the outside of the corner. I don't know what was going on there for Jack William Miller. But indeed, he's done. He's into pit lane. Rasmussen still P1, a 108.9. Quite a ways off our track record. Wow, 1.3 off our track record here. I will say an evolution in the power plant for Indy Pro 2000 this year. Dialing things in a little bit to make the car have a lot more consistency and reliability in the engine package. Hunter McElroy's gotten to P1 for Pabst Racing, 108.919. McElroy up to the top of the charts, so the number 18 machine. Here comes Shields and Eaves. Yeah, Braden Eaves, that transponder working. He gets his first lap in the book, so 110.913. Eaves is going to use all of this session to try to get that last lap. You know the last lap is going to be the fastest.
2 minutes and 40 seconds left in this Indy Pro 2000 qualifying session. This is the run for Braden Eaves. The track is getting better as we move through this session. Noticed him on that long back straightaway as well. He was kind of weaving back and forth just a little bit. Again, trying to get the heat into those tires as quickly as possible, understanding he's only got a couple of laps to get it done. It's possible, but it's all got to work right for him.
Well, here's the key. We talked about the fact what you have to get for the qualifying run. Could this hamper Eaves at all? He's only got 1 lap in the books. Everybody else has burned off 12 laps worth of fuel as well. That car is going to be still heavy with fuel. Because he was sitting on pit lane, wasn't burning that fuel off, so it's going to be a lot heavier than it needs to be here for him to get a good lap down. But we'll see what he does. Eaves getting ready to come around. He's got Flynn Lazier right behind him in the Legacy Autosport machine. Eaves will go to P10 on lap number 2.
Christian Rasmussen has taken over top spot with a 108.5. Reese Gold second with Hunter McElroy, the top 3 now, and changing quickly.
Based on where he came across the line, I think Eaves is going to get at least 2 more, probably 2 more laps in the books here now. Reese Gold down at P1, the rookie out of Miami, Florida, just 16 years of age. Gold in the Juncos Racing 55 to the 108.524. Rasmussen takes the spot back. Car's getting lighter. The heat starting to get into these Cooper tires, especially those who changed to fresh rubber. One thing about Eaves is he's only using 1 set of tires, so he may have a fresh set for one of those races. He'll be able to use that one if he wants in race number 1. It'll be interesting depending on where he ends here. Do they save that set of tires for fresh tires in race 2 to try to get him to come forward? Knowing that he's starting from pole with some used tires, he may be able to get the job done still. Braden Eaves coming through turn number 10. Again, the timing stripe between 13 and 14. Where does Eaves go on lap number 3? Coming ready to come across the line. How about P5? Up to the top 5 for Braden Eaves. You know what? Yeah, the checker flag will fly. This will be the last lap for Braden Eaves. Rasmussen still on top. 108.418. Hunter McElroy second. Reese Gold third. Manuel Suleiman fourth. 5th is Eaves, 6th is Kaminsky, 7th Brakacek, 8th Ahmed, 9th Simpson, 10th Miller. Reese Gold into pit lane. That'll be it for Reese in the Juncos Racing machine. Indeed, the Florida driver done. P3 for the rookie. Nice qualifying run. Eaves on the flyer, though, and this could actually help Flynn Lazier as well because he's right behind Eaves, kind of using him as a rabbit. Eaves a 108.670 last time by, a quarter of a second back. Checker flag flying. Last lap for all the drivers here. Final qualifying session for the Road to Indy drivers this event here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Nothing but wheel-to-wheel action after that. 6 races on tap for you. Here comes Eaves out of turn number 10. What does he do on the last flyer? Where can Braden Eaves go? No quicker. No faster for Braden Eaves. It'll be a P5 start. Out inside of row number 3. Braden not able to put it down on that final lap. Probably was pushing, maybe a minor issue there. Backed it down to a 109.9, well off his pace. So you have to think a minor moment potentially for him to be able to drop back where he did. Hunter McElroy right now still P1. Couple of drivers to come across, and that'll be at top 10 across the line. No one else is jumping up from outside the top 10. Hunter McElroy P2 for race 1, P1 for race 2. This kid here who won here last year, currently 3rd in points, looking to get another race win after the victory at Barber Motorsports Park. 17 thousandths of a second quicker than Christian Rasmussen. They were the drivers who battled for the race win at Barber in race 2. McElroy P1, Rasmussen 2nd, Reese Gold in the 3rd spot. Manuel Suleiman in 4th, and Kiffin Simpson up into 5th on the final circuit. Braden Eaves getting pushed to the outside of row number 3. Eaves just 4 laps in, so interesting for him is the fact that he didn't burn that other set of tires. We'll see how that plays out for the driver out of Ohio. Row 4 will be Colin Kaminsky alongside Wyatt Prokacek. Row 5, Jack William Miller and Inam Ahmed. On row number 6, it's Jacob Abel and Cameron Shields. Row 7, James Rowe Jr. and Artem Petrov. Petrov starting 2nd in race number 1, 14th in race number 2. Not sure what happened to Artem there, the number 42, the Russian starting in 14th. Flynn Lazier and Hunter Yaney will be on row number 8, and not sure what happened. We were hoping to see Fittipaldi, Enzo Fittipaldi out on track. Did not make the call to start, but there is your unofficial results. For qualifying 2 for Indy Pro 2000, that race, of course, going early, 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. Hunter McElroy, the driver from New Zealand, starting on the pole in the number 18 alongside the Dane, Christian Rasmussen. A number of USF 2000 race wins for those 2 drivers. Rasmussen, of course, dominating last year, and McElroy a multi-time winner in 2019. Reese Gold, Manuel Suleiman, and Kiffin Simpson rounding out the top 5. Todd, pretty good qualifying session for the drivers in Indy Pro 2000. A little bit of excitement there for Braden Eaves. A transponder issue gave him a 4-lap run to try to see what he could do. He ends up P6.
Got the job done to get into the top 10 and will start 6. There is some work to do for Braden Eaves, obviously, in race number 2 that will come up first thing tomorrow morning. But the times, as we have seen much throughout the weekend, continue to improve. A 1:08.35 is the pole time for Hunter McElroy. That's better than his outside pole time in yesterday's race, and Braden Eaves' time yesterday at 1:08.9, so better than a half a second quicker for these Indy Pro 2000 cars.
Yeah, and indeed, so we'll go green flag racing with the first race here for Indy Pro 2000, the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg by Cooper Tires at 11:50, just before the noon hour. Todd will go racing, but again, Road to Indy gets things rolling for USF 2000, the first of their 2 races. The event brought to you by Anderson Race Park. Green flag set to go at 10:55.
Rob Howden, the voice of the Road to Indy. You'll be hearing him throughout the day. Up next on our Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg program, our first race of the weekend, Mazda MX-5 Cup race, the first of 2 today, gets going in just a couple of minutes. That'll be followed by the NTT IndyCar Series, first practice session of the day. They will return later on this afternoon, of course, for qualifying as well. 7 races on today's schedule between Road to Indy and MX-5 Cup. We look forward to a busy and full day. Thank you for joining us here at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. We appreciate your help and cooperation, you following the COVID-19 protocols, entering the grounds, the temperature checks, maintain social distancing, please. Keep those face masks on, whether you're seated or wandering the festival grounds, looking for food options, looking for souvenirs, and taking selfies. We appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break. Back with our first race of the weekend. The Mazda MX-5 Cup Series rolls out shortly.
Well, it was certainly a good start for the season for Chip Ganassi Racing at Barber Motorsports Park last week.